Alright, what up y'all? It's Matt. So today I'm taking apart the swing arm on this four-wheeler project because I know the swing arm bearings are destroyed. And the reason I know that is because every other wheel bearing was completely dry and destroyed and rusted. And there's like 8 of them. So what's the chance 2 more bearings aren't destroyed? So we're going to see what they look like when we get it apart here. If they're bad, I'm going to order the kit and then we'll have to wait on parts, I guess. But you won't have to wait. I'll have to wait. But I'm going to get a new kit if we need it. And yeah, I'm going to go all Chinese bearings on this thing. On the chassis, I'm going all Chinese U-joint bearings, all Chinese, what are they? Wheel bearings, all Chinese swing arm bearings. Let's just see how long they last and see what happens. I'm interested to see here. It feels so naughty not using Japanese parts on this thing, but you know, for stuff that really matters inside the motor, I would never, ever buy aftermarket Chinese or Taiwanese or whatever they are bearings. Never. So it's easy to change them if they're not, you know, if they go bad on the chassis, who cares? So we're going to see what happens. I'm going to rip this thing apart. You need a special tool. I had to make a tool for that. Let me flip y'all around and let's get started here. Alright, so we got it repositioned here on some better logs. They're still kind of jank, but it's not going anywhere now. So we got that nut right there, the one on the other side. I took the diff off and laid it back down because I didn't want it to fall. It's going to be super heavy, and I'm going to have to manipulate this thing to get it back in there. And then we got that castellated nut there, right there. And then there's an Allen bolt on there and on the other side. So that one's left-handed thread. Don't strip it out with the impact. Please do it by hand. I'm going to whip out the impact, get that off, get it all off. Basically just loosen everything and get her on the ground. Alright, so here's the castellated nut I'm talking about here. It's a special nut, and the tool's like, you know, 50 bucks. I'm sure they make cheaper ones, but you know, if you want Amazon Prime to get to you so you can get the thing done, it's going to be like 50 bucks. So nobody's got time or money for that. So what I did was I came up with this monstrosity here. So what this is like a 1 inch to 1 1/4 inch galvanized pipe fitting. And I know you're not supposed to weld on galvanized. I ground all the galvanization off, and I did it with the fan blowing on it, all that fun stuff. Don't weld on galvanized. You'll make yourself sick. But that's beside the point here. So what I did was I cut a circular piece of paper and stuck it in here. And then I, you know, did the whole thing where you put the paper in and you do that one like in preschool to make a template. And then I came up with this template here. You can see it's just a cross shape like that. Okay. Then I laid that on the top of the pipe fitting when it didn't have these notches in it, and I marked it out with Sharpie, ground it all out, you know, used a caliper to make sure it was the right depth and everything, and did all that. Okay. Then I got 3/16 inch steel, mild steel plate, and welded it to the top. You know, cut it in a square, welded it to the top, ground it all down, made it all nice and pretty. Drilled a 1/2 inch hole in the top, and then filed it till it was square for a 1/2 inch socket wrench. So it worked flawlessly. I got it off here in about 2 seconds. It's torqued to like 70 foot-pounds. So it saved me some time for real. I just want to show you how I made that real quick. You can see how perfect I got the thing, you know, just by making it like that. And I got it so perfect the threads even line up on there. I know it's pipe threads, but the thread even lines up in there because it's like the perfect size. I'll post links in the description where y'all can get one of these real tools so that y'all don't have to make it if you really don't want to. I mean, this cost me nothing, but if y'all want to spend $50, you're more than welcome to go ahead. All right, so of course the bearings are toast. So here's what we got. Some shaft on shaft action. This shaft is just, the bearing's not even turning, it's just sliding in the hole. There's a tapered roller bearing right there. And that means more parts, and that seal is toast. So that means I need to get 2 more seals, pop these bearings out and see what they're looking like. Let's go ahead and pop these seals off and see if we can get these bearings out. Ooh, boy. Yup. She's toast. Oh my gosh. She's toast. That stinks. Look at all that rust in there. That spacer. There's the other one. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this side. Same. Oh. Yeah, man. These things are toast. Toast. There's all this rust in here. Man, I didn't expect this thing to have as many chassis problems as it does. Getting those races out of there is not going to be fun at all. So, we're going to have to stop this here, and I'm going to have to take this thing apart even further and get it all cleaned up. I can order the bearings. These are Koyo bearings. These are 30203JR. I'm going to have to find some bearings. It says high cap. I guess it's for high capacity because it's got a lot of load on it. But I'm going to have to get this thing cleaned up, and we're going to have to get some parts going. All right, so let's see what we got going on here. We got the new parts kit here. 2 old seals, the 2 old bearings. These are destroyed, completely destroyed. Yeah, you saw those in the other video. These shafts, they look fine. This one I'm questioning, but because it's spun on here so long, there really isn't an interference fit anymore. I mean, it's kind of loose. Yeah, I don't know if it spun that or spun this or spun both of them or, you know, wore them out. But we'll see here in a second, I guess. It doesn't really matter that much. It's not like a shaft, you know, spinning like a wheel. This literally just goes like that. It's a swing arm bearing. It just goes, you know what I mean? So here's the new kit, all balls. I think that's the Amazon part number. I'll put links in the description where y'all can find all these kits. They sell them on eBay, Amazon, all over the place. It comes with 2 new seals, 2 new bearings, 2 new races, and the bearing caps that are on the back. Now, I thought this was going to be a pain in the butt to take apart because I didn't know how it was made. But once I got looking at the schematic, I'll show you what I'm talking about here. It's got these things, and they go in the back of the swing arm like that, and that's what plugs it. So that's the plug for the other side. So it's got this plug that goes in the back of the swing arm like that. Then you take your new bearing, and the bearing sits like that, and then the seal sits like that with the spacer in there like that. That's basically how it goes in the machine like that. And I got to thinking, I'm not rambling here, I'm trying to explain this to y'all. I got to thinking here, these little caps, I'm just gonna pound them out like the old ones in there. I'm not gonna try to save them. I'm just gonna beat them out. I don't have time for that because they're blocking this race in. Yeah, see there, you can see how it goes like that. It goes like that in the machine. See? So I got to thinking, well, it's got a seal from this side. What seals it from the other side? From water and dirt and stuff. I mean, these things were caked with sand. Nothing. So it's like, what if I put a light coat of RTV or aviation gasket maker or something on there just to seal that surface up a little bit better on this side, because all it's relying on is metal on metal to seal. I think I might do that, but we'll see when we get there. So that's the bearing caps. Here are the oil seals. These are actual oil seals. These are some weird proprietary seal things. You can see they don't even have the metal on them. And yeah, they're strange beasts. So these are actual oil seals. I feel like that metal ring in there is going to improve the sealing capability of this. More like a dust shield, like wiper. I don't know. But those are destroyed, so they're going away. Should be all right. Yeah, that should be all right. I mean, once you put some weight on the thing, the bearing's going to spin and not the middle, hopefully. Yeah. I don't know. It might... This one seems fine. It's more like an interference. Well, no, because it goes right there on the end. They should be fine. I'm not worried about it. Not worried about it at all. So here's the other bearing. All right, let's stop talking and get these parts fitted. I'm going to pound out. I got to pound out the old races here real quick with those bearing caps. So let's cut to that. We're going to do the whole socket dealio with the bigger socket. Perfect. All right, so here's the deal. These plates go in here like this with the bulge facing in. And you can see that metal surface there is supposed to seal against that. Well, I'm going to put a little bit of silicone on here because that is not going to seal at all. And water's just going to get in there. I don't know why they designed it like that. It doesn't say to do this in the service manual, but I know better. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit on here. Already rubbing alcohol to everything. After this, we're going to grease those bearings, pound the race in. I don't need to explain pounding the race in. You know, I just got something that was smaller, and we're going to pound the race in, grease these bearings, and slap this bad boy back together. All right, so pack it full of grease, but don't put too much because when you put the center pin in there, it's going to mess it up. And then we got these spacers that go in here. I'm leaving them out. All right, I'm going to do the other side, and we're going to get this thing back on here. All right, so yeah, it came out great. So make sure there's a space between the seal and the little bushing here. You see? There's a space there. Make sure there's a gap because you don't want the seal rubbing on the frame. That's what I'm figuring out here. So yeah, it came out good. The other side looks just as good. And now they want me to torque one side to 72.5 foot-pounds first, and then torque the side with the special tool on it to 72.5 foot-pounds. And, you know, torque one side and then put the other one and torque the other side. So that's what I'm going to try to do here. And I put anti-seize on the big bolts that go through here. Definitely put anti-seize all over the bolts. So you can see I got it all over these bolts. I don't want these things getting stuck in there. They weren't fun to get out the first time, and I don't want them to get stuck in there. All right, so I knew that didn't seem right. So this middle one gets torqued to 7 foot-pounds. Then the big one gets torqued to 72.5 foot-pounds, at least on this model. And that's to preload the bearing. All right, so it's done. Let's see what it looks like now. Let's see how it sounds, how it feels. So yeah, that middle one's to preload the bearing, and then it's got this outer one on there torqued down all the way, and that way, oh yeah, that way it can it can't come out because one goes one way and the other one goes the other way. All right, so that's 1,000 times better. That's fixed. All right, so now we just got to put the other stuff back on, put the diff back on, put the shock mounts back on here, and torque it all down. All right, so these go to 43.5 foot-pounds. All right, so I have a tip for y'all putting any kind of hub back together on a four-wheeler. So that seal rides right in there, right on here. So if you can get in there and clean it up, and then clean it up, see you get the groove out of it, then it'll seal up a whole heck of a lot better, and hopefully not get a bunch of water up in there. All right, so on this nut right here, this isn't like one of those, torque it down, finger tight, and back off and stick the cotter pin through dealios. This one right here, and the one on the other side, I already did it. And on all the other ones like this on here, they need to be torqued down to the proper torque spec, and then the cotter pin goes through the little hole. But it's 72.5 foot-pounds, just like the other side. So you're probably going to have to, I would rather over torque it than under torque it on this, because, I torque it to that and then hit it with the impact just a little bit to get it to line up if it's, within reason, because I would rather have it a little too tight than too loose, obviously. But definitely make sure to torque this, because this isn't just, finger tight, stick the cotter pin through deal. If you do that on this, you're going to be sorry. All right, let's put the tire on here and get this thing tight. Try a new method with these cotter pins here. Instead of bending them both, let's try something new. Alright, I still gotta torque the lug nuts, but I'm not gonna bore y'all with that. Done.